Shout out to everybody who survived daylight savings time. I don't know how, good gracious. Why do we still do this? What is the purpose of daylight savings time? Please tell me. I don't understand it. I understand what it was for in the past. I do not understand what it is for in the current right now. I'm telling you right now, if any political operatives are listening to the show right now, I'm going to tell you right now how either candidate could win. Either candidate could absolutely win. And by win, I mean secure my vote. Any candidate that says that he is going to do away with daylight savings time, I'm telling you right there, they've already won. They don't even have to do anything else. They've already won. It's in the bag. It's in the bag. I'm telling you right now. Whoever promises to do away with and does away with daylight savings time, it is a wrap. They have won the election. I'm telling you right now. I'm so sick of daylight savings time. Okay. The yearly rant. So I'll save this one the next time until the fall when we do it again. But prayerfully, like I said, somebody's going to come in here and do away with daylight savings time, and they've won my election. They've won my vote. And I'm sure that's all that matters. So shout out to everybody. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. I thought this would be a fun conversation. So one of the things that I've noticed, and I have to admit, I've been doing a lot of research into this Fani Willis thing. Okay. And I feel like I'm like like a kindergarten law student. Okay. I'm learning a lot. And so, who knows, one day I might actually graduate and get to like first grade law student. However, one of the things I'm realizing is a lot of people, based upon their political stripe or where they fall ideologically, they view this situation totally different. So if you are pro Fani Willis being disqualified, then you see it one way. If you are against Fani Willis being disqualified, you see it a different way there. And a lot of people that with the different ways that they see it, in my opinion, they're not being fair. So if you're new to this channel, I'm Jason, and this is a Christian YouTube channel where I try my very best to give a Christian perspective to what used to be called critical race theory, social justice, and Black Lives Matters. Now I just kind of address cultural issues from a Christian lens. So if you ever wonder, hey, what is this crazy black guy in Atlanta who's a Christian and a deacon? What does he think about something? That's what you're going to hear here. So as a Christian, we want to and desire to at least deal with issues the exact same way across the board. So for example, if my friend Becky right here, good to see you, Becky. If Becky does something wrong, then I should treat Becky the exact same way as I would treat my good friend Kiana, who does the exact same thing wrong. Okay. So I can't treat Kiana, even though Kiana and I have much more history, differently than I treat Becky, if it is in fact a true one-for-one issue. Now, for example, if Becky forgot my birthday, that would be different than if Kiana missed my birthday, which is April 17th, coming up in 3 weeks. Don't forget. Now, if Kiana misses my birthday, it might be different. My response to her would be slightly different than Becky, because Becky didn't know that my birthday was April 17th, coming up in a month. So she might not have known that Dear Woke Christian's birthday is coming up. But Kiana does know this, because she knows that my birthday is April 17th, coming up in a month. So my response to her should be a little bit different because of the relationship and what she already knows. But let's just say that both of them just found out that my birthday is April 17th, coming up in a month. I don't know how that would be the case, but for real, let's say they didn't. And let's say they both forgot my birthday present. Okay. Then I should, in theory, treat Kiana the same way as I treat Becky and say, hey, y'all forgot my birthday. What's going on? But I think you all see the analogy that I'm giving here. And so when we're looking at this Fani Willis case, and a lot of the time people on different sides of the discussion seem to treat the conversation totally different. And it almost doesn't make sense because, for example, Dear Woke Christian has to drop his car off at the mechanic today. And currently, I do not care if my mechanic has clean hands. I don't care. Actually, I probably appreciate if he has dirty hands because that means he's working and he knows what he's doing. And therefore, so him having dirty hands doesn't bother me because of the work that he's going to be doing. And I think we all can agree, like, yeah, of course, he should have dirty hands because he's out there working and whatever. Now, let me ask another question, or let me make another statement. I don't actually know if my mechanic is filing his taxes correctly. I don't know that. I'm going to assume that he has and he does because he's been open for many years. He's been my mechanic for a long time. So I'm assuming he's doing it right. I don't know if he does his taxes correctly. I don't know if he goes to H&R Block, he does them himself, he has an accountant. I don't know. And guess what? I don't care. That's not germane to the work that he has to do. Now, let's just say, if my mechanic, I'm no longer talking about my mechanic, but maybe now I'm talking about my pastor. Well, a pastor with dirty hands, that would be kind of weird, but I don't think it would impede him from doing his job of preaching the gospel, right? A pastor, maybe I don't know if my pastor does his taxes. I'm assuming he does, again, because he's not in jail. So again, it's not germane to his job. However, if we said like, hey, a chef, you would want a chef to have impeccable hands. Your surgeon who's going to fix your inflamed hair follicle, you want him to have or her to have impeccably clean hands, because you don't want an infection, because their clean hands do play a role in the success of the job that they're doing. I think that makes sense. At least makes sense to me. Your chef, you want him or her to have clean hands. Those paws need to be clean, because otherwise it's going to impact the quality of the food or the product that they deliver. Right? I think we all can agree. Now, same thing. What about their taxes? I don't know. I don't think it really matters if my surgeon does their taxes on the kitchen table or takes them to H&R Block. I don't think I really care if my chef does the taxes in their car or they have an accountant. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really play a role in it because it doesn't impact their job. Okay. But let's go back to a pastor. But let's say, hey, does the pastor's marital status play a role in the ability to do his job? Yeah, it actually does. There's actually a requirement that they be the husband of one wife. That makes sense. So you wouldn't want a pastor that's out there just doing whatever, sowing his wild oats, so to speak, because that impacts the job and the veracity of what they do on Sundays. Fair enough, right? So sure, I don't care if he has dirty hands. I really would appreciate his hands being clean. And I'm not really I don't understand about his taxes, as long as he doesn't get arrested in the middle of service, I guess. But his moral compass does need to point north, because that's what he's actually required and asked to do. And it's part of his job. I think that's fair. What I've noticed, however, is so many people that want to defend Fani, or some of those people that want to detract from Fani, seem to get caught up in the nuance and the weeds and don't actually give. First of all, they don't deal with things they don't deal with the same things, because I guarantee you, if we could flip this conversation, and I'm going to call this As the Peach Turns, because it's a soap opera. Let's just tell the truth. Shame the devil. As the soap opera, as the peach turns, I could guarantee you, if we could flip this into a different racial group, a different ethnicity, a different gender, or whatever like that, I guarantee you the same people that are saying, oh no, it doesn't matter, would be pitchforking and torching, going bananas and crazy for the other team. I guarantee you, I absolutely guarantee you, they would not say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't impede their work ethic. They wouldn't be doing that. So one of the things I really want to point out is that we have to have equal weights and measures. So if I treat Kiana one way, then all things being considered, I have to treat Becky the exact same way. K-Dub and I are very good friends. I feel extremely comfortable saying K-Dub is a good friend of mine. I have to, even though K-Dub is my good friend, and I just met JT 2000 last Tuesday. It might not have been last Tuesday, but you got my point. But watch this. If K-Dub and JT have done the exact same infraction, I have to treat K-Dub the exact same way as I would treat JT 2000, even though K-Dub is my friend. Even though I'll probably talk to K-Dub before the day is over. I can't say, well, K-Dub, yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you a pass on that. yo, JT 2000, I'm coming off the top rope on you. I can't do that. And we've seen this so many other times, but I think it's really getting exacerbated. It's really getting elevated in this daily soap opera, which I'm now calling As the Peach Turns. Prayerfully, it'll be over soon. Lord willing, it will be over soon. But goodness gracious. So I have a couple of quick videos I just want to point out. Just some of the level of inconsistency that we see. And we've seen it. We saw it when Ashley Merchant was giving her testimony. Senator Jones completely showed how biased he is, okay? We saw that. And let's be honest, I'm biased. I have a bias, and every last one of you has a bias. I guarantee you that because you have a bias toward your family. I guarantee you. So it's all good. Matter of fact, I got bias toward this dude right here. Who is this guy? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's my brother. My brother James is in the chat. Shout out to James. Man, let me give my brother a shout out. Give him some sound. James is in the building. Good to see you, brother. So yeah, I'm biased toward James. And I just told you that Chris is my guy. Chris is my guy, but I guarantee you I'm still going to give preferential treatment to James. That's just it. Now, if James sins against me, if James forgets my birthday is April 17th, which is approximately a month and 5 days from now, I'll be a little bit more hurt than if Chris forgets my birthday, but Chris won't forget my birthday because, Chris is that kind of guy. I like that. So I want to point out, and I'm just going to bring two clips in here just to show you the imbalance that I think that we see. And first of all, I'm going to actually bring in a clip that shows, I think, a newscast trying to be fair.
Months of high-stakes legal drama.
All right. You know what? I have to give a shout out because I'm going to show you a really bad example, but I feel like this one is actually trying to be fair to the most part. And I think we could all agree, most newscasts are not very fair. They're biased to one degree, shape, or form, or grossly biased to one degree, shape, or form. I feel like this one was they were at least trying. So let's give them I'm going to give them credit for trying to be fair, and let's check it out.
A ruling on the attempt to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis could be on the way. The judge has indicated a ruling could happen this week as he weighs whether her romantic relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade makes her unable to impartially prosecute the case.
I want you to hear that part because this is one of the few newscasts I've heard, and I have to admit I've heard a lot of them, that actually said the issue is whether or not this woman and this man can impartially prosecute the case. Impartially. So that means that you feel comfortable with that what they're going to do is going to be fair. Like, for example, if you saw your chef washing his hands, if you saw your surgeon scrubbing her hands and getting cleaned up, would you feel more comfortable with going under anesthesia and allowing them to cut you open? Would you feel more comfortable with them providing you food? Versus you see them, their hands are dirty. You see them come out the restroom, ain't even touched the water fountain. Would you feel more comfortable in them providing your food and providing your surgery? I think we would all agree if I see you wash your hands, at least it gives me the appearance and understanding that that there's a less likelihood of germs being transmitted to my food or infection being transmitted to me, and my inflamed hair follicle will be properly taken care of. I think we can agree to that. Let's continue.
Defense lawyers have argued Willis improperly benefited financially from that relationship.
Now, it is a claim that Willis and Wade have denied. Investigative reporter Zach Merchant, you've been tracking this story from the very beginning.
Shout out to Zach.
What can we learn?
Hey, yo, this is the guy that interviewed the Scorpion Queen. I just found out who he was today. I was like, that's the guy. I like him. Okay, let's go.
We move forward this week.
Well, we are now two full months into this controversy, and we finally could be nearing a ruling. As we wait, we want to take a minute right now to break down what Judge Scott McAfee is likely contemplating as he crafts his decision. Now, in legal controversies, lawyers usually fight over two big questions. First, what happened, the facts of the case, and then second, what legal standard should be used to evaluate those facts. Of course, we cannot get inside the judge's head, but signs suggest answering that second question could be key to whatever decision he reaches.
Ultimately, it's going to come down to what standard the judge applies.
Former DeKalb County District Attorney Robert James says that question of legal standards will be front of mind as Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee decides whether DA Fani Willis and Nathan Wade can continue their prosecution of former President Donald Trump and others accused of interfering in Georgia's 2020 election. Atlanta legal expert Bob Rubin agrees.
It's a big deal to remove a district attorney who's been elected by the people to try cases. So it's not one I know he does not take that lightly.
Both the DA's office and the defense team spent the bulk of last week fighting over that question in dueling court filings. Defense attorneys seeking to disqualify the prosecutors have argued that even an appearance of impropriety is enough to disqualify Willis and her office from the case.
And yesterday, I pointed this out, and I think most people can understand. There is a 0.0.0 chance that Trump and Trump's team, whether you agree or not, is not going to highlight the fact that Fani Willis had an adulterous relationship with Nathan Wade. That's never going to not be brought up. So if they're allowed to stay in, the impropriety, again, you saw the chef with dirty hands. You saw the surgeon not scrub up. It's going to create a problem. It's not going to make it better. And I understand they were elected by Fulton County. I think Fulton County might be at this moment regretting that, but that's neither here nor there. There's no way that this is not going to be brought back up. So what is the benefit of having them still on the case if, in fact, the people don't trust that what they're going to give them is a fair case? I mean, this is a setup for appeals right off the bat. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's got to be perfect and good gracious alive. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not. What I am saying, however, is I'm not a prosecuting attorney either. I run a podcast studio, okay? But at the end of the day, if I were a prosecuting attorney, I would not want you to doubt or question whether or not I am going to be fair and whether or not I actually am going to do my job. Because you do understand that they've now set in place a standard that it is okay to lie. Fani Willis perjured herself. So did Nathan Wade, Terrence Bradley. They perjured themselves. And they just proved that they could lie. So therefore, they have now given a truckload of objections, a truckload of excuses to Sadow, Grandpa, and Merchant when they come back into this courtroom again with Donald Trump. This is not a good look.
The DA's office disputes that, writing that under Georgia law, only an actual conflict, proven to a high standard of proof, supports disqualification, a burden they say the defense team has not met. James said,
I guarantee you, if we could flip this whole thing as the peach turns, if we could flip this whole soap opera and change genders and races and the whole nine like that, and political parties, I guarantee you they would not be saying that. They would not be saying that. It would be a whole different game. The mere appearance. But see, that's the point. Do you really want to play the game that, it was sort of kind of, is that really the game that they want to play? That's really unfortunate. Fulton County deserves better.
It's a tough question, and the answer Judge McAfee reaches could be pivotal.
There are some cases that suggest that you actually have to have an actual conflict, right? A real conflict, and I don't really think we have that here. But then there are some cases that.
So I just wonder, and I don't know this young man. I'm not saying anything about him. I just wonder if it were flipped. If it were flipped, would he be so flippant to say, we really don't have one? And you'll see a much more gross example in my next video. But I'm just wondering, would they be that flippant and say, hey, I don't know if we got one?
Suggest or say that you just need the appearance of impropriety or the appearance of something going wrong. That's a much stronger argument for the defense because they've kicked up a lot of dust, there's a lot of blood in the water.
We want to be clear here, even once a standard is decided upon, Judge McAfee still has to determine how the facts apply to it. So still a lot of moving pieces here. Signs suggest we may have some answers by the end of this week. We, of course, will be following it every step of the way.
I like that. All right. So Shout out to 11 Alive News. Atlanta News gets a lot of bad rap, and I give them a bad rap. That was actually pretty good. I felt like they were trying their best to be fair and give the high view of this and not being down in the trenches. Somebody asked, who is Grandpa? Okay, so another YouTuber, while they were watching the Fani Willis disqualification case, they came up with all these names for the defense attorneys. Scott Sadow, Sadow, they called him Boots because he was wearing like these really fancy boots. McDougal, they called Grandpa because he just looked like somebody's grandfather. I've heard other people give him, I just liked him, so I just kept him. So I don't call Sadow Boots, but I do call McDougal Grandpa. So it was just something fun, just a little rib and a little shout out to lead attorney and AV to the seventh power because they were the ones that kind of brought that up. But okay, now let's go ahead and have some fun. Oh, okay. All right, so did I pull this in? Yo, why is it not playing?
And they kind of got caught.
All right, so I don't know why I did like that. Okay, this is Atlanta News First, a new news outlet that's kind of materialized here in Georgia, and they're sitting down with an attorney. Her name is Erica Wilson here in Atlanta. I just want y'all to tell me what you all think as it relates to her assessment of the story, whether or not, again, where you fall on the argument, in my opinion now, is actually that's beside the point, because the soap opera, as the peach turns, has taken on a life of its own. So it almost doesn't even matter, in my mind, what they actually do as it relates to the election interference trial, whatnot like that. Because as the peach turns, has just taken on a life of its own. But I will say this, though. Whoever in the world comes out and says, hey, I come against daylight savings time, they got my vote. That's all I got to say. Some reason or other, this was really taking a long time. I didn't realize it did this. I'm going to jump out of here. Wow.
Thanks so much for joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Limnacker and here with attorney Erica Wilson. Thanks so much for being with us, Erica. So, of course, one of the things that we've been watching this week, and well, not just this week, but for several weeks, the disqualification here.
Wait, I got to say something funny. Okay. Again, I have to admit, I've watched a lot of news about this. I've noticed now they don't even give weeks anymore. They say, hey, last month now. They don't say like, hey, last week or 2 weeks ago. Now they're just like, look, let's give it up. It was last month. If this thing goes on any further, I fear they'll be like, yo, in the first quarter of 2024, it's gotten really bad. All right, let's finish up.
Against Fani Willis is something that we covered for you for several weeks here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Well, we are expecting a decision to be made sometime this week on whether Ms. Willis will actually be disqualified in the election interference case involving the former president, Donald Trump. The judge is actually set to make a ruling after listening to arguments on Willis's relationship with the special prosecutor, Nathan Wade. And also we've learned that a Georgia attorney is eyeing the district attorney seat. Willis could be facing Christian Y. Smith in her reelection bid this fall. That is according to a statement to CBS. Willis has already filed for reelection. All right, so Erica, talking about what could happen this week, a decision could be made on whether Ms. Willis could be disqualified and potentially whether Mr. Wade could be disqualified. What do you think is the outlook?
Well, so let me start with Mr. Wade first. I don't believe that he will be disqualified, and here's why. The judge ruled preemptively that any discussions about his qualifications were going to be ruled out. So they didn't even have an opportunity to discuss that. Then the next question is whether or not there was a legitimate conflict of interest. I don't believe that there was, and what I did not hear, there was a lot of banter. It was certainly entertaining to watch these proceedings. But I think where the lawyers for the defendant in this case failed is they did not establish how, even if Fani and Mr. Wade had this relationship, how it impacted their legal rights. There was absolutely no discussion about that.
Okay, I got to stop. Okay, Erica, I did a little bit of research. She seems like a solid lawyer here in Atlanta, all that kind of stuff. I take nothing away from her. The problem is the lyrical gymnastics that she is doing, you even saw her choke up when she wanted to say affair. Like she didn't want to say that they are having a bona fide relationship. I guarantee you, as sure as my name is Jason, she would not give this much duck and cover to anybody else. She wouldn't do this again if her pastor was involved in this. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. They didn't prove it. She would not do that. And the reason being is we're not talking about your mechanic. If Fani Willis was a mechanic and Nathan Wade was the owner of the shop, nobody would care. As long as you can turn a wrench and fill my radiator up, nobody cares. But that's not your job. Your job is to be an honest individual. What we require and need from these people is different. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to put everything, they're trying to flatten it so that, oh, the same way you treat the mailman is the same way you treat your DA. The same way you think about the person that bags your groceries at Publix is the same way you think about the special prosecutor. Nope, those are different. I don't care if my if my person that bags my groceries at Publix, I don't care about their marital status. I really don't. I do want them to be saved. I do want them to come to saving knowledge of Christ. But at the end of the day, I don't care if what they're doing, bag my groceries. And it doesn't impact their ability to do my job, to do the job that they're hired for, that I'm asking for the service. However, a DA that's dishonest and lies, a special prosecutor that stepped outside of his marriage with the DA, yeah, that might be a little bit of a problem. There could be a little bit of a conundrum there. And the fact that Erica is trying to do some lyrical yoga over here, turning herself into origami to try to justify this is ridiculous. Let us continue. Let's go. Oh, by the way, Erica, ain't nobody got time for that. Let's go.
It was like a Trojan horse to send it in for the affair, the illicit affair, but then nothing happened after that. They didn't lay any foundation for how their rights were impacted, and I think they had a missed opportunity to try to capitalize on that, and they kind of got caught up in all of the tempestuous nature of the proceedings and the back and forth, and some things kind of just got lost in translation. So I don't see that the necessary legal elements were met in order to establish that she should be disqualified from the case.
Okay, my name is Jason. I'm a kindergarten law student, okay? At very best, I have about 8 hours of watching YouTube videos as a law student. I'm just letting you know, okay? Letting you know. I don't know what case she watched. If she's gonna honestly wants me to believe that the defense team did not lay out a true issue with a woman employer hiring her boyfriend to do a task that both of them need to be above reproach. I don't know what she saw, but this is what I'm saying. This is where I'm saying, like, you're not trying to be fair and honest, because I guarantee you, if we flip this story around as a peach turned, if the president was a Democrat and the special prosecutor and DA were Republican, and the Republican was a white man and the president was a black woman, I guarantee you, as sure as my name is Jason, Erica Wilson would be saying something different. She'd be saying something totally different. So miss me with that. And that's the part. We're not being honest. We're not even trying to be honest. We just want to say something because we want, again, your political ideology must bow to what is reality and what is truth. If this person is wrong, then they're wrong. Their political sway, their ethnicity, their gender are all secondary to the fact that Fani Willis is wrong. Nathan Wade is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is right. I'm just saying, in this regard, because that's the case, is the disqualification of Fani Willis, not Donald Trump. Guess what? She's wrong. That's just it. Oh, no, did I jump forward? I jumped forward, y'all. Rookie.
I don't see that the necessary legal elements were met in order to establish that she should be disqualified from the case.
You talk about just kind of the legal elements that would be met. I mean, I guess that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we've been talking a lot about the details of this alleged affair, And, well, I guess I
Right.
should say admitted affair, but really what it comes down
They're so used to saying alleged, it's comical. And I've heard quite a few reporters and such like that, commentators stumble over their words because Fani Willis actually admitted it. Now, mind you, when she went to Big Bethel Church for MLK Day, she said she didn't, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to worry about the fact that she lies in church. I guess y'all are okay with it. I guess I'm supposed to be okay with it. I don't know. Hey, if you're okay with lying in church and you think that it's okay, please hit the thumbs down button. You can do that by hitting the thumbs up button 3 times. The rest of y'all, get the likes up on here, please. Help a brother out. Let's go.
to is, does it violate the law or not? So what really does the law state with regards to, relationships like this, impropriety? What does it take? What does the judge need to find to actually remove her from the case?
The judge needs to find that their legal rights were directly impacted or adversely impacted by.
It doesn't actually say that. I have not seen anybody say that it directly has to impact your legal rights. No, I did not see that. That would be akin to saying, well, I can still try a murder case because I ran over the old lady coming into the office today, but that doesn't impact my ability to try a murder case. No, it doesn't say that. It has to be a level of impropriety, and she's already failed that. The bar was set on the ground, and Fani still couldn't get over it. The level of impropriety is not, I don't know where she got legal from, and I thought that was adorable that she just kind of added her own new spin to it, because that's not what it says.
This particular relationship, the mere fact that they may have engaged in an illicit affair,
This woman literally said they may have engaged in an illicit affair. That's why I say we must have equal weights and measures. They were in an adulterous relationship, period, end of story, close that chapter, let's keep it moving. Fani already admitted to it, so there's no reason for the lyrical yoga. You don't have to do the fool pose. She's already admitted it. Let it go.
the fact that she may have allegedly hired him because he was her boyfriend or her paramour at the particular time does not in and of itself have any impact on this particular case, the way that they are prosecuting it and their legal rights. So what they would have needed to demonstrate is that somehow their relationship impacted them adversely as far as their legal rights were concerned. And that just was.
I guarantee you, this young lady, bless her heart, I guarantee you, if she had to have an inflamed hair follicle surgery and she was laying on the table, she would really be concerned about the relationship between her surgeon and the scrubbing of his or her hands and properly anesthesia. I guarantee you, she would be concerned about that. She would not be like, oh, it really doesn't matter. Oh, no, it's not a big deal. She would be very concerned about it because it impacts the quality of the job that they can do and her trust in their ability to do that. You do realize that this will only kick open the largest door possible for appeals, for all kinds of back and forth. There is no possible chance that this is going to get solved before the election coming up in November. I dare say it probably won't even get going until 2025. That's how long this is going to be, because there's just going to be too much back and forth. Nobody trusts Fani Willis or Nathan Wade, except people that just want to keep Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. Now, if you want to keep Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, draw a picture of them, put them on your refrigerator, but they don't need to be in the courthouse of Fulton County trying anybody's case. That is true. I'm sorry. There's no other way around that. I know you don't like it. It's okay. But I continue.
Not necessarily,
Atlanta must be stopped.
Established. And there were a lot of missed opportunities for that. But I don't think that they could have established that, because I don't see how her personal relationship with someone on that particular case, prosecuting the case, would impact their legal rights. Now, had she had an affair with...
Somebody find me where it says legal rights. She's added legal rights to the argument. That is not the argument. That is not what Judge Scott McAfee is deciding on right now. He's not deciding on whether or not Fani and Nathan's adulterous relationship impacted anybody's legal rights. That's not the argument. The argument is whether or not they can do this impartially, and they've proven that that is a no. Shout out to Willie Doc. Let me real quick. I did see that. Thank you so much, Willie Doc, for the outstanding super chat. He just says, Fani, the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks, DWC. Thank you, brother. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, brother. So I understand you want Fani to do the job. Okay, that's fine. I got you. I totally understand. She can be your chief baker at your bakery. I guarantee you, Fani Willis would probably do a fantabulous job of riding a 52-inch lawnmower and doing those little nice designs in your yard. I guarantee you that. And nobody will care that she's sleeping with Nathan. However, in order to do this job, you don't want somebody who is already demonstrated poor character, because that's only going to push it back. It really wouldn't matter. Like, just think about it. Do you think they're going to get away with that? Sadow is going to let that slide? Come on, my guy. You think Ashley Merchant's going to let that slide? I promise you, there will be videos, there will be text messages showing up, there will be all kinds of stuff to impugn these people, and y'all have put all of your money on Fani and Nathan. Get qualified DAs. That's all I'm going to say.
A potential witness or law enforcement who was investigating the matter, that might be a little different. But the person who is essentially aligned with her interests, which is prosecuting this matter, they did not necessarily demonstrate that there was a conflict with that representation.
There is a 0 point. I would love, and again, I'm a kindergarten law student. Okay, let me just say it again. My name is Jason. I'm a kindergarten law student. I've watched about 8 hours of legal stuff, and I know nothing. I would love to do some research on the cases that Erica Wilson has tried or prosecuted or defended, so on and so forth. And I would love to see, like, hey, in this case, would you have been okay if the judge had been sleeping with their, and please understand, there have been men that have been taken down for lesser things than what Fani Willis is being accused of or has done. There have been men that have lost their whole jobs for this. There's tons of them. So I do find it a little bit interesting. But again, I would wonder, would Erica be okay if she lost the case and found out that the judge was sleeping with a paralegal? I just wonder, would she be okay with that? And would that come into play at all in her? Like, man, I lost this big case. I really thought I could have won. And the judge said no, but come find out the judge is sleeping with the paralegal, sleeping with everybody, the bailiff and everybody. I wonder, would she be okay with that? Like, it doesn't affect my legal rights.
Okay, so that's really what it comes down to. Is there a conflict with that representation? Not just was there a relationship, but also doesn't there have to be some financial gain?
Okay, real quick. Shout out to the newscaster, because she still brought it back to the right description, even though Erica spent a lot of time muddying the water by adding their legal rights. That wasn't what was being argued. But shout out to the newscaster. Let's go.
In terms of the financial gain, sometimes financial gain can demonstrate of a conflict of interest. But again, even if there were, how does that impact their legal rights? How has that impacted Attorney Willis's ability to prosecute this case? How does that impact Attorney Wade's ability?
So let me make sure I have it right. I believe all of us can see that if let's say that the judge that she's standing before, if I walk up to the judge and I just put a big old stack of cash on the judge's bench, and the judge takes it and sticks it in his briefcase or puts it in his pocket, and then we go on and go to the case, I'm 100% certain, unequivocally, that she would say there's a problem with that. I promise you, as sure as my name is Jason. Oh, but wait. You can't collect more than $100. You're right. That's a good point. So what I do is I march 50 people in there, and each person gives $99 on the judge's bench. They just drop $99 on there and then walk out. You think they would have a problem with that? It's still under the standard. It's still, your legal rights aren't impacted. He just gave me, Jason just decided to give me some money. See, it's silly, and that's ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure there's some problems with the way I frame that. But again, I'm a kindergarten law student. She would have a problem with that. So stop faking it. There is a problem. Good gravy.
Prosecute this case. Did it directly impact them? Whether or not she paid for the trip to Fiji or wherever it was that they went, I can't necessarily remember, and whether he paid and they paid him back. I don't know that that necessarily has any bearing on their ability or impacted their discretion in prosecuting in this particular matter. So, and again, if it were the case, I believe that they would have been able to demonstrate that, and they didn't. They focused primarily, really, on besmirching, District Attorney Willis's reputation more so than they did focusing on how this impacted their client's legal rights.
I would 100% love to ask, how did they besmirch her character? Fani Willis was the one that came in there hot like a Brahma bull, plopping down lies. These are lies, and acting like that. Nobody required her to do that. You do remember that. Nobody required her to go to the Big Bethel. Nobody required her to go to Berean Seventh-day Adventist. Nobody required that. Fani Willis inflicted all of her wounds on herself, because guess what? Nobody required her to hire her boyfriend for 2 times as much as what she makes as the DA. She literally hired her boyfriend to make twice as much as her. Nobody required her to do that. I'm sorry. And I guarantee you, again, as sure as my name is Jason, Erica would have a problem. Erica Wilson right here would be hot to trot if the cards were flipped. If we did a Uno reverse and flipped all the genders, all the ethnicities, all the political parties, I guarantee you they would have her on this screen saying something different.
In terms of when a decision could be reached, that's just kind of a matter of the judicial process. But we have been learning from our sources it would be happening sometime during this week. Do you have any guesses?
It's hard to tell, when judges give these kind of harbingers of how long it may take for them to render a decision. It's very hard to tell because, again, I can appreciate when a judge takes the time to consider all of the evidence to kind of reflect on what the law is, and and usually in these cases kind of glean from their judicial assistants and their law clerks in terms of being able to make sure that whatever ruling that they have is legally sound. He didn't want to be quick to make a judgment in this matter, as soon as the case concluded. And so it could be today, it could be next week. It just will depend upon the process that this judge is going through in order to be able to come up with his ruling.
It is worth noting that this is overlapping with Georgia's presidential primary, which is tomorrow. I wonder if that has any kind of impact whatsoever on, how things may go. I would think that the judge might want to avoid tomorrow in terms of just, making an announcement as for a decision. But in terms of just the fact that this is playing out while there is this presidential primary happening, is there any coincidence there?
Again, in terms of the timing for all of this, I cannot say that any of this is not strategic. But again, what District Attorney Willis has done did take some time, so it wasn't a quick thing to happen. And I think just in terms of how the wheels of justice sometimes slowly churn, it just may end up being happenstance in terms of this, particularly this particular issue that we're facing right now. This is not litigation that she brought forth. This is litigation that was brought forth on behalf of the defendant. So it could be strategic in that route for them to go ahead and file the motion when they did, understanding when it would be heard. I don't know that the primaries or anything like that would have any bearing on the judge's decision. It may have a bearing on whether or not he chooses to publish his ruling tomorrow, or if he will decide to wait until after to see, necessarily if that will have any impact on that.
So I just want to read a couple of the viewer comments because some of the viewers are asking about non-disclosure. So we have one viewer.
Okay, so real quick before they get into there's some good viewer comments, and real quick, speaking of comments, I want to talk about some of my comments. All right, real quick. Fraud cases say that they paid in cash and have been convicted. I agree, and that could be a problem for them. Look at this one right here. I thought this was excellent. Thank you so much, Robin. Robin says, anybody who watched the Georgia Senate hearing knows that the invoices submitted by Wade are suspect. He capped at $35,000 a month. No details about the actual work, and signed off by who? By who? Willis or her proxy. So if you've ever been in a position where you have to sign checks, you're responsible for that. So the person that you proxy to sign checks or rubber stamp checks, you got to make sure that that person is ethically where you want them to be, because they're going to be representing you in the signing of those checks or rubber stamping those checks. Let's keep it going. Q says, there's a judge in Kansas or Missouri who was sleeping with a prosecutor. So there are people who have been released because she was a prosecutor and he was a judge on the case. I mean, it's not hard to understand. I don't understand why this is complex. Now, I do want to disagree with him. Raymond says nobody required her to write that book either. Fani didn't actually write the book. She sat down with authors. Now, nobody required her to sit down with these authors, with these writers to allow that either, because she did get full. She allowed them to go back behind and see how they were counting the votes and she gave a lot of behind the scenes. Nobody required that from her, but she didn't actually write the book. And then the very last thing, JT 2000 says, it matters if Fani's corrupt. What makes you think she won't take a cash payment to prosecute someone else? I don't know. Remember, this is the woman that kept money from her campaign to have cash in her house. I don't understand how this is okay. I don't understand how this is all right. Let's keep this game going. Let's go.
Where Chuck555 says they were dating when she hired him, no disclosure at all. Another viewer writes, the conflict is failure to disclose, an ethical violation. Expectation is the judiciary be held to the highest standard, apparently not in Georgia. So people have their various opinions, but in the letter of the law, is there a duty to disclose a relationship like this?
And I believe that it is written somewhere that she did have a duty to disclose. But again, even if...
But stop right there. Why does she have to have a duty? Why would it matter if it doesn't impact somebody's legal standing? According to Erica, it doesn't impact them legally. That's the standard that she raised. So why does it even matter that Fani would have to disclose her relationship with Nathan Wade? Why? Because according to Erica, it didn't impact them legally. And I think we could probably say that most cases wouldn't be impacted legally if that were the case. But would it? See, she's put in a new standard. She made that standard. I do not see that anywhere. Haven't heard. But again, my name's Jason. I'm a kindergarten law student. I just want to say it again. All right. Hey, that's me. How did that go? There we go.
She had a duty to disclose and she failed to disclose. That doesn't necessarily have an impact on the defendant's legal rights. She can be reprimanded, if you will, for the lack of disclosure, but that reprimand might not include such a severe sanction as to remove her from the case altogether.
Okay, so there's another viewer who writes, if Fani and Nathan wins, that Trump case would be a flawed joke. And so somebody else, Chuck555, keeps writing in and says, exactly, points to that comment. So I guess that's the big question is, well, there are two separate questions. Number one, would it really be viewed as a joke? Say the prosecution goes forward, it is successful.
We're literally looking at this, calling it as the peach turns. It's a joke. First of all, I argue that the entire case to start with was a joke, but I'm not here to fight with you about that. However, the furtherance and the prosecution of this case is going to be a clown show. And please understand, it's not a clown show that's only happening on a small little stage in somebody's backwood theater. This is going to be on the global stage. Everybody's watching this. I got people in Australia checking in. I've had people from the UK, people from South America chiming in on my show, talking about this, saying, oh yeah, we are watching this. We are paying attention to this. So no, it's not going to be just a joke that you tell in your kitchen, a bad joke you tell at Thanksgiving. This is going to be a global phenomenon, and that's y'all.
Would there be kind of this, shadow of doubt as to whether, the prosecution was done correctly? And number two, is that something that Judge McAfee can consider when he's trying to decide whether or not to remove Miss Willis?
So, always, and I can't speak for a judge. I'm not a judge, but, my ex-mother-in-law was a sitting judge for quite some time in Fulton County State Court. And so I do understand how their thought process works. And I know that most judges do consider whether or not their decisions will be easily appealable. And I think as far as the defendants are concerned, whether or not they win or not, I won't say it's inconsequential, but I think it definitely would assist in bolstering any appeals that they would have in the event that she is, not removed. Because certainly if she is removed and it is, moved to a different county, there are a lot of different options that can happen. Whoever the new district attorney is or whoever assumes the responsibility for prosecuting this case could make the
I'm saying this again. I want them to be thrown off, and I'm sorry, I'm totally biased. I want them to be thrown off because I want them to move the case to Cobb County. Because as I showed you yesterday, I didn't show y'all the video. My studio is a block and a half from Cobb County Superior Court. I can't wait to see the clown show. I mean, I'll be able to walk out of my studio and film it in real time. It is going to be crazy. So that's one reason. I'm biased. I want them to throw it off because I want it to come to Cobb County because that's going to be amazing. Amazing. Yes, I'm selfish. Yes, my name is Jason. Oh, by the way, if you could please, if you're finding value in this video, give it a thumbs up. All right, hit that little thumbs up button. It's not going to hurt you at all. If I can get like 5, 6 more thumbs up, it would be amazing. And then also, if you don't like this video, hit the thumbs up button 3 times. I promise you, it does the same thing. It works. Trust me, I'm a professional.
Decision to throw it out altogether. They could add charges, they could dismiss charges, or they could dismiss the case altogether. But if she is not removed and it continues in Fulton County, I think certainly the lawyers for the defendants would have their appeal will be bolstered by the decision that will be made by this particular judge. And certainly whatever decision he makes, if it's not in their favor, you can anticipate that that decision will be appealed.
And also, I'm just looking, I appreciate that the viewers have a lot of, conversation and questions going on. So Louis O. writes, when is this decision going to take place? AJ writes this week. Thank you, AJ, for responding. That's right. I mean, it's expected to take place this week. We're actually just trying to figure out when exactly this week we want to prepare for it with our coverage, of course. Our guests, as we were just saying, it sounds like you're just joining us, probably not going to be tomorrow because of the presidential primary here in Georgia, maybe later on in the week. Who knows? Is there any other information that you think should have been gathered that wasn't?
Again, I think what was a missed opportunity for the representation for the defendants is for them to directly tie District Attorney Willis's relationship with Attorney Wade to their client's legal rights and how those were directly impacted. I think the focus was primarily on, besmirching, or like you said earlier, just kind of casting doubt on the case and the prosecution and the validity of the prosecution.
I'm gonna try something.
And certainly,
I'm trying something.
In the court of public opinion, they have been successful in being able to
flag on each and every one of y'all.
All right, I wanted to. How does it do it? It didn't transition out.
Flag on each and every one of y'all.
All right, I wanted to try that. It was supposed to allow me to transition it back to the video, but it didn't. Okay, I do think it's adorable that she still wants to add the complexity of legal rights when those are not what was being argued in this case.
Could that become an issue here? Because, obviously the disqualification hearings opened up a whole new can of worms.
Okay. I do think it's interesting that Erica keeps trying to bring in legal rights. That's not what was being argued. I never heard that mentioned. If you do find that, let me know. Drop it down a link in the description. You can email me, dearwokec@gmail.com, whatever. But I don't understand why she's trying to add a legal right to it, because that's not the issue. Because the issue is that there's no way to be impartial, and that is the problem. But let's continue. Let's get done.
So I think what a lot of people need to understand is, irrespective of whether or not the court's decision is nuanced, whether or not they find that there was a conflict of interest, whether or not they find that she failed to disclose, any of those things, all of those things are separate and apart from establishing whether or not there was a conflict of interest that directly impacted the defendant's legal rights. And so there are a plethora of reprimands or sanctions that they can receive from the courts. There are a plethora of reprimands and sanctions that they can receive. They're both attorneys from the Georgia bar, but all of these things are separate and apart and not inextricably linked to the conflict of interest that the defendant's attorneys were trying to establish.
All right. And Garland Favorito, this is another viewer, is writing, she was also required under Georgia law to disclose to the county commission her intent to hire special prosecutors when she made her presentation on September 2021. What's your response to that? Would that have any impact?
I hate to sound like a broken record here, but again,
not really.
it really won't necessarily. Not to say that she cannot be punished for that, and there's some sort of reprimand or sanction for that particular violation.
So it's okay to hire a unqualified anesthesiologist to do your very serious inflamed hair follicle surgery, right? It's perfectly okay. No, that person might be great. Then again, they might not. But the fact that this woman, is doing all of this verbal origami to justify the fact that Fani Willis was wrong. She was wrong. Because I guarantee you, Erica has already judged Trump. Trump is guilty. I'm pretty certain if you ask Erica, Trump is guilty. He needs to go to jail today, following her logic. But Fani is not. It didn't impact anything. She's doing all of this gymnastics for the same, but she wouldn't do it for Trump, which is where I started in the beginning. We must have equal weights and measures. If you're guilty until proven innocent, then what do we have? You're innocent until proven guilty. And I'm saying Fani's innocent, no problem, until she's found disqualified, and then we'll move accordingly. But she's demonstrated at least that she must be looked at with an eye of scrutiny. And that's all we're saying. It has nothing to do with your legal rights. Okay, finish up, Jason. Let's go.
But again, I think everybody needs to understand the call of the question is how, even if she did all of the things that she's being accused of, how did that impact the legal rights? And I don't even think anybody can directly relate the violations or the alleged violations to how it impacted their legal rights. They would have to demonstrate that, and they simply have not been able to do that.
Okay. And so what it sounds like you're saying is essentially the disqualification hearing is not just like a catch-all for anything that she may have done wrong. It's
Right.
specifically, should she stay on this case? But that said, if there were other ethical violations, then there are other repercussions that she could face. We know that, there was a hearing with a Senate committee, for instance, and, an ethics board is looking into some allegations as well. So there are other repercussions that potentially Ms. Willis could face for wrongdoing, but the disqualification hearing is something else.
It's completely separate and apart from these particular violations, unless and until they can demonstrate, which, at this point, the case is closed and it's before the judge to make a decision, and I don't think legally they were able to do that, but unless and until they're able to demonstrate the violation of their legal rights and their constitutional rights in terms of all of these alleged allegations, I don't see her being disqualified from the case. I can't say that definitively she won't receive some sort of punishment otherwise, but I don't see a disqualification from this particular case.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. Well, thank you so much.
This is actually the end of it. Okay. I'm sorry. Erica, I disagree with her wholeheartedly. And I'm going to give you an example, and you all just decide. So let's just say that Dear Woke Christian gets arrested for not getting his front yard properly manicured. And here in my HOA, that's a whole crime. It is a felony. And so I go to jail, and I have a court date. And of course, I want a jury trial about this situation. So on my trial is coming up in the future. So what I do is I go and I buy Chick-fil-A. Jesus' chicken. I buy Chick-fil-A. There's a Chick-fil-A just a quarter of a mile down the street from my house. And I deliver Chick-fil-A to every single resident in my community. There's 352 houses here, and I buy them all a number 4 with a giant sweet tea, and I deliver it to them from their neighbor, from Jason. I deliver it to everybody in my community, okay? Do you think when it comes time for them to select jurors to sit on the jury for my felony case of not getting my yard properly manicured, do you think the fact that I delivered Jesus's chicken to every person in my community, do you think that's going to have any kind of impact on the jury selection and the jury pool and the such like that? I'm just wondering. What do y'all think down in the chat? What do y'all think? There's some days when I do think that hopefully none of my neighbors are watching. There's some days when I don't like my HOA. That's for sure. Okay. I have to admit. But do you think that that would have any impact on me getting a fair hearing if I did that? What do y'all think? I got somebody telling me that the HOA is of the devil. Robert, I don't think that's true, but hey, the lead attorney definitely would know. He would know for sure. No question about it. I think it's fair to say that my right to get a fair trial would definitely be impacted. JT 2000 understands. I'm bringing the Lord's chicken up in here. It's going to change the complexity. Absolutely. You bring Jesus chicken up in the joint. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm going to double down. I'm going to take Jesus chicken every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I got to skip Sunday. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm delivering it to my neighbors. Do you think that's going to change the complexity of how my neighbors, who are going to be my jury of peers, sees my case of Jason didn't cut his yard and get it properly manicured? I think most of you would agree. Okay? So is it fair? So are we saying that me delivering the Lord's chicken to my neighbors impacted my legal rights? Just wondering. Just asking a question. Only asking a question. Would that impact my legal rights? I think we can all agree that it's changing my legal rights, or it's gonna shade the jury, so to speak. It's gonna impact the jury to some degree, shape, or form. That every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, skip Sunday, Jason delivers a number 7 with a large sweet tea to all of my neighbors, 352 houses in my community. Everybody gets Chick-fil-A. It's fair to say that, you know what, even if you don't like Chick-fil-A, you know what, it's like, yo, this guy he's doing a lot. Yeah, that's going to change it. It's going to change it a lot. Now, let me ask you a question. What did Fani Willis do when she went to Big Bethel Church? Big Bethel Church, if you don't know, is in Fulton County. Big Bethel Church is the oldest historically Black church in Atlanta. On MLK Day, she got up there and excoriated the defense team, called them racist. They're only going after her because she's a woman. All of that stuff like that. Did that not improperly impact the jury pool? I'm just asking a question. I'm only asking a question. So just like my chicken analogy, I keep talking about it, now I've made myself hungry. I need to stop doing that. But just like I gave the example before about my HOA and me bribing all of my neighbors. Wait, did I say bribe? I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. I was giving a gift to all of my neighbors to impact them as possible jurors in my case. Is that not what Fani Willis did when she stood in that pulpit at MLK Day and said what she said about the defense team? Call them racist. They're only coming after her because she's a woman, this, that, and the third. Did she not do exactly that? Yes, she did. She impacted his legal rights. So therefore, Erica's claim that they didn't impact his legal rights is false. That's why Boots and Grandpa and them kept calling out. They even called it the church speech because it was so egregious. I actually heard Sadal say he had never heard somebody be so blatant and so egregious in real time. So yeah, it does impact their legal rights, though I don't think legal rights is the standard, but Erica made the standard and actually failed at her own standard. That's what I'm saying. All right. All right. Yeah, Caleb said it like this. See, Caleb understands. If I bring Chick-fil-A, I'm getting off. It's a wrap. I done tainted the jury pool with some good old peanut oil and waffle fries. Come on now. I mean, Talina asked a great question. Trump is supposed to have a jury of his peers. How can you have a jury of your peers in New York, Washington, D.C., or Atlanta? Not possible. Those cities are 99% liberal, Democrat progressive controlled. There you go. Oh, I had another couple quick comments real quick. All right. I think this is interesting. MN Cat says, please tell me that this is not what what they mean by black girl magic. Yo, I'm really tempted to do an entire show on black girl magic. Um, I, I'm appalled by it. I'll be honest with you, because it's almost like black girl magic means I can't be held accountable. I'm thinking about doing an entire show on it. I think it'll probably be because I've already started the videos. I've already secured the videos. It's very possible. Let me finish this comment though. I'm amazed at the level of denial of truth. That's it. This comment right here might be the one. All the city girls don't need no man, but seem to be paying a lot of money for them. Come on. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say that comment right there. From my understanding, Nubia says, the only way you can move to Cobb County is they need to have the money to try the case. Look, we got enough money in Cobb County. I'm just gonna tell you that. We got the money in Cobb County. Now do we want to try the case is a much better question. But we have the resources to move it here. So if they did, I don't care. I just want to move it here because it's down the street from my house and down the street from my studio. Because I could literally be doing a live stream out front every day because it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, to your point that you made, yes, they do have to want to do it and so on and so forth. So that is true. Fani has violated the defendant's constitutional rights. To be fair, empirical and speedy trial. She has gone to at least 2 churches to imitate the defendants. Intimidate the defendants, and their attorneys are sexist and racist. There you go. I didn't even see this one, but shout out. She tainted the jury pool by claiming racism, sexism by her defendants. There you go. The issue isn't legal rights. I don't know where that came from. And that's why I wanted to watch that video, because I'm like, I've never heard that before. Where did legal rights come from? Is that Conundrum in the building? Shout out, man. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Conundrum, great brother, man. If I'm not mistaken, you are in New Orleans or Louisiana. We got to talk about your mayor out there too, brother. Look, all right. And he just says, back like I never left. Happy to bless the chat. Man, thank you so much, brother. Grace and peace. All right. Verbal origami. Yeah, man. I'm like, she's doing all of this lyrical twisting, all of this Pilates and twister in order to try to make it sound like the argument was that they have to have violated his legal rights, which I don't believe that is the case at all. I saw nothing. I've read nothing that said you must have violated his legal rights in order to make this case viable. I've never seen that. And last, Brian Boyd says, like, look at this. A notary, just a person that notarizes contracts or notarizes legal documents or special documents. Look at this. Notary applicants must be at least 18 years old, be a resident of Maryland, regularly employed within the state, and be of good character, integrity, and abilities. I mean, are we trying to say that we hold our notaries to a higher standard than our DA? That's all I'm asking. I'm just wondering. All right. Thank you so much for that, man. Racism accusations is kryptonite to the average Democrat Black American. You're right. Thank you so much for telling them to hit that like button. Hit the like button. And if you don't like it, hit it 3 times. It'll help out. I promise you. It'll make the same point. Michelle said, hey, look, I'm a vegan, but you'd win me over with some Chick-fil-A. See, there we go. But, hey, it didn't impact anybody's legal rights. Nobody's legal rights were impacted at all. I'm just tainting the jury pool with some good old waffle fries and sweet tea. There you go. Good to see you, CA Human, California Human. Good to see you. There she is, Susie Q in the building. Hopefully you got my message I sent you this morning. Thank you so much. Now, Raymond hit the nail on the head. I would not want to be the judge. I mean, whichever way he decides, he's going to be under tremendous scrutiny. He's been under scrutiny all for the last week and a half. So whatever he decides, it's a wrap. But I will say this. I think, in my mind, those who are pro Fani Willis, they've already have announced that there's a young man that's going to be running against Judge Scott McAfee for Superior Court judge role. Okay. I personally think they should have waited a little bit longer to announce that. Why do you say that? I say that because if they had waited to announce that there's a young man that's going to be running against Scott McAfee, it would have because now we already know, like, okay, there's a Democrat who's far left, more left than Scott McAfee ever could have been. And so therefore, they're already showing that they're running somebody against him who is politically and ideologically left-leaning. And the only reason they're running that person against him is why? Because they expect him to shoot down Fani Willis. So in the event that he does side with Fani Willis, he's going to be running against somebody who's even super more left than himself. Okay. Or that person could just say, oh, I'm not going to run. I was thinking about it and I changed my mind. That could happen, but you don't know that. So now they've already guaranteed you that if you go this way, you're going to be in a fight to keep your office seat. And you're going to be fighting with a super ultra left person. So the left is not going to be supporting him. So who would be supporting Judge McAfee? Would be people on the right side of the aisle, or the right-leaning, moderates, centrists, so on and so forth. So how should he decide? Well, if he decides this way, because y'all already shown me that if I decide this way, you're going to go against me. So if I side this way, I will be in favor and curry favor with this other side of the aisle. I think they've already solidified it. That's my mind. Again, I'm a kindergarten law student. I'm a dual major in political science. So I know nothing. I'm just looking at it, saying this is what I see, and it looks weird to me. So we'll see, but I don't think he's going to come out with a decision today. My bet has always been for Thursday, and kind of ruin It's going to be Thursday, Friday-ish. So I think he's just going to ruin our weekends. But I say ruin, but you know my point. You know my point. You know what would ruin his weekend is if you hit that like button. All right. Oh, CA is for Kathy Ann. I'm just an NW of Trump in Palm Beach. Really? Okay. Now I know. Well, good to meet you, Kathy Ann. Good to meet you. Yeah, I mean, Marxism equals cancer. Let's just tell the truth, shame the devil. Let's just tell the truth. All right. They made a mistake by running that guy against McAfee to scare him. There you go. Man, Costa Chameleon, you and I are right there on the same page. He won't win against that guy in Atlanta, so he's free now to decide what he wants. I mean, we'll take him in Cobb County for sure. Just leave Fulton, come on up here to Cobb. I don't know what the process is. I'm a kindergarten law student. But yeah, that was it, man. And gentlemen and ladies, I appreciate the great comments. I appreciate the chiming in, and hopefully you all are finding value in this kind of early morning rants by Dear Will Christian. And hopefully, tonight, the primary is today here in Georgia. There'll be some stories about that. And of course, I'll probably comment about it. But tomorrow, hopefully it'll be a smooth primary, no drama, no shenanigans. And then we can go into getting done with this, because good gracious alive. I just want the peach, as the peach turns, to go on to the next episode, not to go into extra innings. I'm going to do the right thing in the eyes of the Lord. I agree with you, Kathy Ann. No question, no argument. I agree. Absolutely. So that's why I said, I believe we should encourage and want and desire to see our leaders using fair and equal weights and measures. I don't think Erica was using the equal weights and measures. I just don't think she would use the same kind of flipping approach in any other way, shape, or form. But it is what it is. It is what it is. What's going on, Shannon? Good to see you. Lady Winfield, good to have you. Thank you so much. I'm having a great time with it. I'm having a blast. Yes, As the Peach Turns. That's the new name for the Fani Willis saga, is As the Peach Turns, because it's here in Georgia, and that's it. We can't win, so we just might as well make fun of it. I'm having fun, man. Like, I'm learning so much. And again, I would have never enrolled in kindergarten law school had this never happened. So you know what? I'm having a great time. Yo, that's another word like I've never heard before. I'm fine I find the lawfare against Trump and Republicans sickening. I'd never heard of the word lawfare until this happened. And I was like, what in the world is that? I thought it was literally a typo in an article I was reading. I was reading it and I was like, what in the world is that? Come to find out it's actually a real word. But I didn't know that. See, my name is Jason. I'm in kindergarten law school. It's taking you weeks to get to what I miss. But it is about integrity. And I think at the end of the day, again, you don't have to be perfect. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the DA must be without spot or wrinkle or any blemish. That's not what I'm saying. However, this one right here is kind of gross. Let's just tell the truth. Nobody would have cared if Fani Willis, because she is a divorcee. So nobody's saying, she can't do this because she's a divorcee. She's a single mom. Nobody's saying that. I'm pretty certain she didn't pay her third grade library fines at Bumblebee Elementary School. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is that you can't hire your boyfriend for twice as much as what you make and think that we're going to have no problems or issues with how you prosecute a case. That's it. That's all. And I don't know why that is. First of all, I know why. That's not a complex thing to understand. That's not hard. That's not hard. They just don't want to they just don't want to accept it, and therefore they make it hard. That's the thing. The local black churches are defending her in sin. There you go. I mean, that's the end of the sentence. The visceral vendetta is really against Trump and the white Republicans. I agree. And to me, that's why I say, like, at this point in the game now, it doesn't actually matter about Trump. In my opinion, it doesn't matter about Trump. It's shown that the visible church, those who profess to be Christian in a local assembly, are willing to do anything for political ideology. So I go as far to say that it proves that they don't actually worship Christ. They actually worship a political idea and ideology. Catch me outside if you disagree. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. It proves it. The reason that you will go out of your way to see something is clear. Because I actually went back and listened to the speech where Fani Willis was at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I was listening to the pastor speak before she came up and talked about, no weapon formed against me, blah, blah, blah. You would almost think that this man knew nothing about this woman. Like, there's nothing like that she is of a high moral character. He was saying some stuff. I'm like, yo, who are you talking about? Are you literally talking about the woman that just 2 days before cut a fool in the court about a sexual relationship that she had lied about 3 weeks prior, saying that she didn't have? That's the person you're talking about? Well, I'm missing something. So no, the visible black church, this is an indictment, in my opinion. This is an indictment, James Irvin, on black Christians. And I'm using the word Christian kind of loosely because I am black and I am a Christian, and I think that we need to be held accountable. We are allowing these frauds and shamsters to come into Christ's church, to turn church into a offshoot of a political party, right or left. You're wrong if you're doing it for Democrats. You're wrong if you're doing it for Republicans. You're wrong for doing it for libertarians, okay? You're wrong. That's not what Christ's church is for. But to now make it a shell organization, now to make it a Ponzi scheme for Democrats or Republicans or political parties and political ideologies, you're wrong. You're just wrong. Repent and turn back to your first love. It's really that easy. That's it. I'm not going to catch me outside. DearWokec@gmail.com. If you have a problem with what I've said, please make sure you email management. And management will always make sure that you're given proper treatment. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, we're not looking to elect officials because they're perfect, but a little honesty would be nice. Absolutely. So therefore, and I'm not saying, and please understand, at this stage of the game, it really doesn't matter. Again, we could be arguing about whether or not Fani Willis is qualified to prosecute the chief dog catcher. Nobody cares what it is anymore. Like that has now taken on a whole new life. Now we have As the Peach Turns. So this drama, this soap opera, this daily dose of foolishness is what we're dealing with. It really doesn't matter what the case is, because she's still prosecuting the YSL street gang case. There's still other cases that the DA's office of Fulton County is dealing with, and nobody's arguing that. The issue is whether or not Fani Willis is qualified to do this job, that we need somebody who doesn't have their hands super dirty, who doesn't have a great deal of issues, because it's only going to exacerbate the appeal process. I'm just saying. No independents either. Don't come up in there. Nope. No independent rallies at church either. Nope. Keep them all out. It's shocking that churches support political candidates, period. In my opinion, there's zero place, zero space for political pundency in Christ Church. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. If you have a question, comment, concern about what I said, I stand on that one. There's no place for it. Now, do I see it happening? All the time. And I disagree with it every time I see it. So I try to be as consistent as I can. Matter of fact, there's a big church to the left of my house. There's a big church down the street to the right of my house. And every major U.S. holiday, they have a sea of flags outside their church. It's pretty nice. And they do a great, it's fantastic. And I disagree with it. I'm like, that's not what Christ Church is about. You're in America, so we already understand that. Gotcha. But no, that's inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate when both of them do it. Matter of fact, there's two of them. I apologize. There's two down here to the right, and they both do it. And one has a long driveway, and it's just covered in these big, huge U.S. flags. It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. That's not what Christ Church is about. You're still American, so I'm not arguing that you're if you don't have American flag, you're not American. Nobody said that. And stop saying stuff that I didn't say. What I did say is that that's not what Christ Church is for. That's not the purpose of it. Just saying. So I disagree with that. To all Georgians in live chat, don't forget to go vote in our primary today if you haven't already. I'm on my way. Thank you so much, Susie. You can definitely follow me. The link, my link is in the bio. Susie just dropped it. Moderator extraordinaire. Check me out. I appreciate it. Oh, I got all my eyes. I got you, Brian. Thank you so much. Any kind of political pundency, I think, is wrong in Christ Church. Period. End of story. Keep it out of there. And I also think, because society has made a term or a particular argument politically based, that doesn't change the fact that Christ Church should talk about it or discuss it. Example being marriage between a man and a woman. Because we've made that a right versus left, a blue versus red argument, that's silliness. God instituted marriage, so we don't have the right to change and define it however we wanted to change and define it. So therefore, that's not a political discussion. And I think, sadly, many people have obfuscated and kind of, tucked tail and hid when you don't have to. No, that's not a political argument. It's not. It's a man and woman. Thank you. Next. Because now we have all this other foolishness. So now, see, what happens is we shake off the cords of God's law and God's definitions, and now we have no definitions. There are no boundaries. There's no way to bring it back into line. So therefore, in my opinion, churches should address that topic from the scriptures. A lot of the problem is, and we've talked about this before, is the fact that many churches don't actually believe in the sufficiency of scripture. Therein is the problem. Well, thank you so much, Leslie. Glad you found me. Appreciate you, sister. Okay, so I don't think Fani is running today. I don't think they're running for it. This is a presidential primary, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and look before I stick my foot in my mouth. But I don't think, I thought this primary for her was in May. Don't quote me on that. But I think the primary for Fani is in May. I could be wrong. Matter of fact, let's just assume that I'm wrong. And as Reagan said, trust me, but verify. So again, I'm a kindergarten law student. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a kindergarten poli-sci major. So just check it and then email me and let me know if I was right or wrong. I'm pretty sure that the politicians going back hundreds, if not thousands of years to the churches, temples to plead their cases. I agree 100% there, Chameleon. Okay, good. All right, but check it out for me too, Nakia. Make sure I'm right. All right, just help me out. Help a bugger out. All right. Yo, I want to thank everybody who's come. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you so very much for checking out the channel. I'm glad you found value in it. Please do not hesitate to shoot me an email if you run across an article, you run across something that you think would be informative. Please make sure you give me as much information as possible. So don't just send me an hour-long clip and say, check this out, because I can't do that. But if you run across something, you see an article, you see a book, like, hey, Jason, have you read this book? Whatever like that, I'm always open to it. And I'll definitely do my best, if possible, to check it out and give you a shout out for it. But thank you very much for that. I appreciate y'all checking out the live streams. Thank you so much to the super chats. Thank you so much for Willie Doc. Thank you so much, Conundrum. I definitely want to follow back up with you, brother. I appreciate both of y'all. I appreciate every last one of you for taking the time to watch this channel, to interact with me, to give me comments, feedback, all that kind of stuff like that. None of that goes without, none of that goes under the radar. I definitely appreciate it, because I understand, like, having the time to interact with somebody, you could be doing a whole lot of other stuff. So I appreciate that you take the time to hang out with me. It means a lot. I'm gonna get ready to bug it. Susie says, as we end around these curves, at least half of society has untethered themselves from God's morality, and they have politics. I'm sorry, they've made politics a religion. Therefore, no matter what God's word says, they will view it as a political issue. That's perfectly fine. And that doesn't change that there's still things that we should address. But I think one of the issues that we do often is we try to qualify things well past where they need to be. Like, God said this, that's it. Leave it alone. We don't have to qualify it. We don't have to give it death by 1,000 qualifications. And a lot of the time, that's what we do. Thank you so much, James, for sharing it on Facebook. I appreciate you, brother. His servant in the building. Good to see you today. Thank you so much. May 21st is Fanny's primary. So what's that? 2 months from now. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I'm curious if Wade only hid money in his IELTA, or if he had a crypto wallet. That would be crazy if they brought in crypto into as the peach turns. If you're not familiar, and you know what? I'm probably going to I'm going to find that segment where the lead attorney talks about the IELTA account, but I'll explain it, and I'll try to find that segment, and maybe we'll watch it. So IELTA, this is super, like, the fact that you're saying that Nathan Wade is not disqualified is amazing to me, and I'll explain why. So let's just say, since Leslie's here, new subscriber, Leslie, there we go. Leslie Enoch is here, and I'm an attorney. I've graduated from kindergarten law school, and now I'm an attorney. And Leslie wants to sue her HOA for some reason, her homeowners association. And so she hires me, and my fee to sue HOAs is $10,000. I'm charging big bucks to sue HOAs this week. And so Leslie says, no problem. She writes me a check for $10,000. Where does that money go? Does it go into my bank account? Does it go into my my company bank account? Does it go to my HOA? Where does it go? It goes into what's called an IELTA account. And if I understand it correctly, IELTA is basically an account where I draw from as I actually bill Leslie for the work. So let's go back to my example. Leslie is suing her HOA for whatever. And she hires me, Jason, the kindergarten law student, to sue her HOA. She gives me $10,000. And every hour of work I charge $500. So she gives me $10,000. So that's 20 hours of work. Every hour I bill that IALTA, I can get $500. Okay, that's how I understand it. Now, the lead attorney explained that the IALTA account is serious business. If you mess with your IALTA account, you could be disbarred instantaneously, he said. And I'm going to find the clip and go over it. So they mean business. The bar associations mean business with your IALTA account. So let me ask you a question. If I'm getting paid for, just doing a job, can I put that money in my IALTA account? Just like any other account? No, because it has to be tied to a client. And in my example here, Leslie is my client. She's my client. So that's why it's Leslie's $10,000 that I will bill and take out as I bill her. I can't just take my paycheck and put it in my IALTA account. Now, the reason I bring that up is I was told and I heard that that's where Wade was putting a lot of his money, in his IALTA account. That's unacceptable. So that will be, if that's the case, that's why I say Wade should be he should be disbarred. If that's the case, if he was putting his paycheck, because again, he was hiding money from his soon-to-be ex-wife, his estranged wife. If he was putting that money in his IALTA account, that's bad business. That is horrible. So I don't know that emphatically, but if that's what he was doing, he's going to be in a lot of trouble for that. And sadly, I think we'll find out a whole lot sooner than we realize. Okay, let's go. Leslie just said, have you noticed the presence of so many fraternity and sorority members involved in this? Yikes. I did kind of notice that. I wasn't going to say it, but I did notice that. Wade, Senator Jones, Fani's father, and Jamal Bryant are all Kappas. Yikes. And before the Fulton County Board meeting that I showed the video yesterday, before the Fulton County Board meeting, they honored the Kappas in there. And there's at least 2 of them that were sitting on the Fulton County Board. There's a lot of them. That's a great point. Fani and Kamala are AKAs. Yikes. He might be on to something. He might be on to something. I do think we could get into a whole 3-day argument about sororities and fraternities. I'm not going to even do that. I know April has done that. I know Miss Titus 3 has done that as well. I know other good quality YouTubers have discussed sororities and fraternities and secret organizations in the Christian church. That's not necessarily today what I've been discussing. However, I do think there's something there. Almost every bad preacher in Atlanta is in a sorority or fraternity. I don't know about William Murphy, but good gracious, E. Dewey Smith is. Jamal Bryant is. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them here. All right, let's see. I think the crypto wallet would work for Fani hiding the cash. I mean, that would be a new level of complexity as the peach turns. That would be crazy if that was the case. Not the lead attorney. Oh, what is this? Oh, let me see this. Let me see this, Susie. Let me see. Oh man, this is short too. Okay, here, okay. Are y'all cool with that? Thank you, Susie. Big old hug to Susie. Are y'all cool with this? We're gonna watch a quick video explaining the IALTA account. All right, and he's from Illinois. You know, people from Illinois know what they talk about. They know about corruption up there, boy. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. All right, let's go real quick.
Of the Lawyers Trust Fund of Illinois. I want to talk for a few minutes about an important aspect of your practice, which is holding client funds in trust through an IALTA account. IALTA stands for Interest on Lawyers Trust Account, and it simply describes a type of client trust account designed to hold client funds in trust. Holding client funds in trust is a requirement of the Rules of Professional Conduct, specifically Rule of Professional Conduct 1.15, which provides that lawyers must hold client funds in one of 2 types of client trust accounts. The first is an IALTA account, and the second is a separate non-IALTA client trust account established for the benefit of an individual client. In both cases, the the client trust account must be an interest-bearing account. However, in neither case may a lawyer collect interest that is earned on that account. When should you use an IOLTA account? According to paragraph F of the rule, an IOLTA account is to be used for the deposit of client funds that are nominal in amount or to be held for a short period of time. In many cases, this describes funds such as security retainer payments or settlement amounts that will soon be distributed among several parties, including the client, the lawyer as a fee, and then any lien holders, such as medical providers or expert witnesses. Interest that is earned on IOLTA accounts is directed to the lawyer's trust fund, which, under the instruction of the Illinois Supreme Court, uses those funds to support legal aid programs throughout the state of Illinois. Before IOLTA was started in 1983, these funds were held in non-interest-bearing accounts. Participating in IOLTA is a simple matter. There are nearly 400 financial institutions in Illinois that are eligible to hold IOLTA accounts. You can find the list of eligible financial institutions, instructions, and the enrollment forms on our website at www.ltf.org. You can also contact us for information and assistance in establishing your IOLTA account. Safeguarding client funds is an important part of your professional responsibilities as a lawyer. I cannot overstate the importance of understanding the requirements of the rule by reading the rule and also looking for background information in the ARDC's Client Trust Account Handbook. You can also contact us at the Lawyers Trust Fund for questions both about trust accounting and about the Interest on Lawyers Trust Account program.
I love it. Thank you. I know that music got really loud. That music got real loud. Thank you so much, Susie. Yeah, that is crazy. So I think it's pretty clear that these accounts cannot be just mismanaged. And I did read that Wade was putting like his bank account, his money he was receiving from Fulton County as a special prosecutor into an IOLTA. That is no. And again, I'm a kindergarten law student, so I don't know everything. But my goodness in the morning, that is like he is hiding money from his wife. You're right there on the money. Thank you, Lacey, and for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much, y'all. I really do appreciate it. I saw another good comment. IOLTA accounts are used by real estate attorneys to hold, your earnest money and any funds to be dispersed at closing. There we go. You can't just put money in. Again, like, I'm going to find it because I want to say it was on the Megyn Kelly show where she was talking with somebody who was explaining that he was putting money in there that wasn't related to a client. And if that's the case, and allegedly if he was in fact doing that, that is no good. That is no good at all. I'm a Southerner. I just said a shout out to Illinois. I didn't even say that I'm from Illinois. I just said shout out to Illinois. Shout out to you. Shout out to, hey, because I'm going to be checking out Dalton anyway. So I got to be doing the Village of Dalton soon anyway. So I got to give him a little shout out, a little shine, because I'm about to come off the top rope in a minute. I don't know that one, Kathy Ann. Kathy Ann says, do you know if the judge can make criminal referral? I don't know, but I do know that there already is ethics hearings. There's already investigations. I don't know if Judge McAfee needs to do anything else, but I don't know. I don't know. There it is. That's who it was. Phil. Okay. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it was Phil, and he was on the Megyn Kelly show. It was him. Okay. Because I'd heard it. It's funny. I was listening to the lead attorney, him and AV to the seventh power. And then I don't know if I shifted or went somewhere else, did something else. So let me listen to Megyn, what she's talking about. And she was talking to Phil, and they were talking about it. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm not crazy. Okay. See, I don't know, because that was called an escrow account. And again, y'all already know I'm a kindergarten law student, okay? It was called an escrow account. That might be where maybe that's a different form where the contract is paid, and once you've done the job, you can collect your money out of it. That's what I understood it as, but I don't think it's the same thing. And I could be 100% wrong, trust me. So I totally don't know how all that works. However, However, I do know that from my understanding in the video we just watched too, an IELTA account is tied to a specific client. So that can only be paid out as you service and provide work for a specific client. That's how I understand it. His office is down. His office is very close to me. I've reached out to him. I would love for him to come by the studio and do some talk. I would love to talk to him. Or whatever. I mean, he's literally, yeah. I mean, maybe I'll go by there today too and show. Like he's very close to me. Phil is very close to Podium Studio, so you can come shout out, man. Come on. So yeah, I think it was an escrow account where Bradley's money was, and so I don't know what the escrow accounts, how that works, but an IELTA account, from my understanding and what I've learned in kindergarten, law school, is really, really super important, and you cannot violate that to the point that if you violate it or do something wrong with it, you could lose your law license. Like that's how bad it is. I didn't hear that if you mess up your escrow account, you can lose your law license. But I mean, I agree. Come on, I agree with y'all. I mean, his office is literally. I'm gonna ride by there today. Y'all gonna be like, "Yo, how is his office that close to you, Jason?" All right, who would charge Fani? She is the DA. I don't know that one specifically, VC. I think it would probably be a state issue. Somehow or another, I'm sure somewhere there's a graphic showing the food chain. Could it be the governor? Could it be the attorney general of Georgia? Could it be another DA? I don't know. That's a great question. Oh, there we go. Lacey Ann says the attorney general would have to charge her. Okay. It was cold this morning. If you're talking about Georgia, it was cold this morning. It's not just that the $700,000 from his current contract. He had the contract from his, yeah, right. That's another thing I don't think people realize. Like Nathan was making a lot of money because he had several contracts that he received. Remember, he shared it with his law partners. I think it was the other person was Wilson, Wade, and Bradley. So all three of them were eating from that first contract. Then they got a second contract. And I think that second contract is when Bradley left and left money in that escrow account. So I don't know what precipitated that, but there was a lot of money coming in, long story short, which I think is problematic for him. Oh, take pictures. I did a video yesterday, so I actually have to put it together. I did a video standing outside the Cobb County Superior Court, and you can see my office from Cobb County Superior Court. Then I went to my office and shot another video where you can see the Cobb County Superior Court. So maybe I'll add to it today. I'll ride by Phil's office and stand outside with a sign saying, "People want you to come on my show. People want you to come on my show." Something like that. I mean, he's on Twitter. I've reached out to him. And you asked this question yesterday. I've never run into Todd Friel. I don't think he's in Marietta. I know he used to be in Alpharetta, which is like where Andy Stanley's church is. I don't think he's in Marietta unless he's moved or something of that nature. I think Wretched Radio was headquartered in Alpharetta, and I'm not certain that he's here in Marietta, but I would love to run into him. I think Todd Friel's a great guy. So one way or another, Todd Friel, what's his name? Phil Holloway. I'll run into him. Absolutely, man. Nathan, come on, bro. We can go. We need to sit down and talk, man. I need to talk to Nathan Wade, man. We got to get you some good spiritual guidance, my friend. We got to get you some good discipleship, some good mentorship. Help you out, brother. I mean, that's what we need. That's what he needs. So, and then he can help me find some suits because I got to give him credit. That dude dresses impeccable. Now, I don't know if I can get those suits on a podcast studio owner's salary, but at least we'll try. But nothing else. I'll give you the gospel, my friend. Absolutely. Yeah, all those guys are somewhere here in Cobb County. So that would be crazy. That would be wild. Hey, don't let the rumor get started. I did not say that Todd Friel goes to North Point. I did say that Wretched Radio was housed up in Alpharetta. And I was trying to give like a lay of the land. If you were doing like a Google search and you're looking, it's in Alpharetta, which is where North Point Church is. I'm not saying he went to North Point. Look, let me tell you, I don't even think Jesus goes to North Point. Let me just say that, okay? I said that, dearwokesee@gmail.com. All right. Oh yeah, he's a fashion statement, no question about it. And I'm not a suit guy. I'm not a suit guy at all. But I will definitely say Nathan Wade's dress attire was fantastic. Every time I saw him, he's always dressed to the nines. I was like, he looks the part. All right. Yo, now that would be. I'd love to hear from Jocelyn Wade. That's Lacey Ann. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen her at all. I mean, on any interviews or anything like that. I mean, we saw the Scorpion Queen, her lawyer, which I think she did a great job, by the way. But I think she just wants to stay out of the limelight. I think she wants to stay away from this and just, I mean, get her health right and things of that nature. But I feel sorry for him because at the end of the day, nobody wants to see somebody's marriage implode, and the fact that we're watching your marriage and your life being drugged through in 4K, and apparently she has some health issues. So that's pretty sad to hear. I pray that things get better for her. If nothing else, that she has the right kind of support around her to encourage her during this time, because I can't imagine what all she's going through. And again, like to have all this going through in 4K in real time, that's got to be pretty emotionally draining, spiritually draining for that. So, and to hear all these shenanigans that have been going on with your ex, your former husband, your strange husband, whatever the proper term is today, is that's pretty sad. So prayerfully it'll work out for her. And Lacey Ann continues, he's getting paid big bucks while Jocelyn has major health issues and can't afford to go to the doctor. Yeah. That's kind of sad for sure. But the crazy thing is, I'm sure now you probably Mercy asked the question. I was always wondering if anybody in the chats across all these channels ever see Fani out and about in the wild. The bad thing is that before this got to where it is now, to where now as the peach turns, you probably would have. But I do want to say she was before all this blew up, she was prosecuting some pretty gnarly criminal cases. Like again, that street gang case has been going on. It's one of the longest cases here in Georgia ever. And she was prosecuting that case. So I'm pretty sure she was probably a lot more sheltered than we imagine. But but on the same note, she popping up in people's churches too. So I don't know. I don't know. That's sad. All right. Susie has found a flowchart of Georgia's government for those who are interested. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Check that out. If you're looking at the, here it is right here. But does it say who will, oh my gosh. Susie, what in the world? Yo, I love Susie. This is intense. No, Jason is not on the flowchart. Okay. I do not have a job in the government. Wow. This is a lot. This is seriousness. Okay. So, like, where would a state? This is so intense, Susie. Y'all, Susie is the best. I'm not kidding you. I will fight you if you say Susie's not the best. All right. District attorneys right there. All right. So, okay. So these are elected officials. So there's Supreme Court right here. I need to get the little mouse thing to work. Is this it? No, it's not. Is this it? No, it's not. Darn it. Okay, over here on the, okay, hopefully y'all can see my mouse. Okay, over on the left is Supreme Court, and then there's the Court of Appeals, and then under them are Supreme Court judges and district attorneys. So if I'm understanding correctly, this would be where Fani is right here at the very bottom left, the under there, and then above her would be Scott McAfee. This is intense right here. This thing is, I think, okay. I'm just gonna go with it. This is wild. So Susie just dropped that in the link if you want to check it out. And thank you so much. That is intense right there for sure. Wow. Okay. Let's see what I got. Yeah, we know. I mean, it is kind of sad when you think about it, because again, whatever her health issues, this is not helping improve her health. Watching your husband, every time you open up YouTube, every time you turn on the news, you see your husband or former husband, estranged husband, whatever, on the news. That can't be helping her situation again. And I say the same thing about their kids. They had a boy and a girl, and Fani has 2 girls. That can't be beneficial to those young adults and to the mom's situation. So, all right. Oh yeah, top left. Okay, that was the top left. Yeah, that's that's intense, Susie. That graphic right there. I was not prepared for that graphic. That thing is that flow chart was intense. Yeah, like yeah, that's the thing. Like the whole world knows your business. Like that's some next level. Because at least like celebrities and actors and musicians and whatnot, they at least intend and know that they're going to be popular. They know that they're going to be paparazzi. They know there's going to be people wanting to interview them and talk about them. Not just the average Joe and Jane. Like that's a whole nother level, man. That's really sad though. Use the marker. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all over here, y'all got entirely too much faith in my ability to do things online quickly. Y'all got a lot of faith. I'm just letting you know that. I hope so too. And I'll end with this. Lacey Ann says, I hope that Jocelyn has a huge support system and her kids. Absolutely. Hopefully she's in a good church that is supporting her and helping her out as best possible. Because I think this is the right type of that's the right kind of support that we should be known for. So prayerfully that's her story. If you could please, before we leave out here, can I get 5 more likes on the video? Kind of push me over that 550 mark. That'd be great. If I can get 5 more likes, that would be fantastic. But even above and beyond that, I appreciate all of y'all. This means a lot to me that you take the time to hang out with me today and to just hear what we got to say and such like that. So let me let you know, your attention, all of that stuff does not go unnoticed. I really do appreciate it. You all the best. Thank you so much. The plan is to hopefully do this again tomorrow, but if something pops off tonight, let me let you know. You'll see it. If you do subscribe, please hit the notification so you'll be notified when I upload or when I plan new live streams. Because I'm trying to help make sure people hit that notification bell so that they'll be notified, so that they won't come in late and say, "Oh yeah, I didn't know about it," or whatever like that. But hey, check out the replay gang for sure. I do appreciate all of y'all moderators. Thank you all so much. You all mean the world to me. Thank you very, very much. I'm gonna get over here, but maybe I'll go by Phil's place. They be like, "Hey, go on, dear woke Christian. Go on, dear woke Christian." If you see Phil on Twitter though, say, "Hey, why don't you go, dear woke Christian?" He'd love to talk to you. Anyway, everybody, I appreciate you all. So Lord willing, I'll see you real soon. Take care. God bless.